Health is probably the most important thing for people. This is something we have all learned, and European citizens have been asking already for a long time that the EU would invest more in their health. So this crisis has shown that we need more collaboration, more coordination at the EU level to be ready in cases of crisis like this pandemic. And you can also see that we are always as strong as the weakest part of the chain, of course. So if you talk about public health sectors in the EU, you could see differences between member states that did better than others. Fortunately, there was a lot of solidarity, and we took patients from certain countries to others, like patients from Italy and France to Germany. But it shows that we have to strengthen our public health sector and really invest to build resilience. There is at the EU level some organizations like the ECDC that needs more manpower, more money, so that they can do this coordinating work in a much more efficient way. We could think of creating a kind of a health corps of people all over the EU that are ready, trained and ready to go where there is a crisis in another member state, set up systems of collaboration also at the level of health. We need to maybe relocalize some of the production of essential drugs or medicines like paracetamol. We have learned in this crisis, I didn't even know that, paracetamol is produced in China, is packaged in India and then brought to Europe. We don't have any production of paracetamol. Can you imagine that? It is the public sector that keeps everything together, that has to take over. Without a strong public sector, we are not resilient if there are crises like the one that we have seen now. Yeah, as an ecologist, of course, I am a bit worried because this virus spread from animals to humans, and it is a result of a very disturbed relationship that we have with wildlife and with ecosystems. So this is an important lesson to draw from this crisis. And also it shows, I would say, the importance of our environment on our health. And as ecologists, again, I think in the European health policies that are going to be developed, we really need to stress the importance of chemicals, of pesticides, of air pollution, and also think of health as something which is everywhere and go to a health in all policies approach. I mean, you can invest in health of people. You can invest in health, but you can destroy their health by your trade policy or food or agricultural policy or employment policies. The virus does not respect borders, of course, and together we are stronger, we are more able to do things than every member state on its own. The first reflex that we saw is that borders were closed. So like people were hamstering toilet paper, member states were hamstering masks, ventilators and so on. And this is ridiculous, because if I have masks and my neighbor country has ventilators, we are stronger if we share these assets and if we work together. So this has, I hope, led in the heads of European politicians to the notion that maybe crisis preparedness and resilience for this kind of events will need more investment at the EU level and more collaboration in the future. We are much stronger also in negotiations if we do that together. And the European Commission has started to negotiate the development of the vaccines and also the distribution. And this process is now ongoing. So this is one example of how we can better work together. Now, what we have been a little bit critical of is that these deals with the industry have not always been very transparent. So we don't really know which exact are the terms that were set, and we are, for instance, worried that Europe would have chosen for a EU first policy as compared to other regions in the world, whereas we think that vaccines should be available and accessible for everyone in the world. We are still waiting to see this solidarity at the EU level and participation in WHO programs like COVAX and others that really will help people all around the globe. Well, in this time of the year, of course, where people like to be with friends and family and celebrate Christmas and New Year together, we will still have to follow the COVID measures that are in place. In many European countries, we are in lockdown or semi-lockdown, and we will have to abide by these measures, because in this way we're not only protecting ourselves, but also others. We don't want a third wave, because that would be devastating for the economy, but also, of course, for psychological and social reasons. We know how important mental health is, and specifically during this pandemic, when people are isolated and in lockdown. And let's hope, finally, that this crisis, when it's over, has taught us some lessons of how to do things in a different way and not go to business as usual, but see the value of the things that are really important, which is our health and also our contacts with friends and family. So in that hopeful thought that this will very soon come back and that these things are actually incredibly important, I want to wish everyone happy holidays.